Why is consistency important for a leader? Well, we're going to talk about that coming up right now. Welcome everyone, Michael Finley here with another episode of Leadership Roll Call, where we give you tips, suggestions, and recommendations on how you can become a more effective leader. Our topic today is consistency, but before we get into it, I'd like to ask you a question. Have you ever had an inconsistent boss? Did they ever do things one day and do something completely opposite the next day? I'd like to ask how that made you feel. What did they do that was so inconsistent? Please put your comments below. When a manager is inconsistent, employees spend their time trying to determine what mood the boss is in or what the boss is going to do instead of concentrating on the work that needs to be performed. It is imperative for a leader to be consistent in their actions. Inconsistent managers slow down the effectiveness of the team. They slow down the performance of that team. They slow down the organization. Now, before we get into the details, I'm not advocating that all managers act the same. There's not a one-size-fits-all. I'm not advocating that at all. What I am advocating, though, is based on a manager's technique, style, communication skills, all of those things, that they are consistent in how they do things. So that way, an employee doesn't have to guess at what the manager is doing. They can predict what the manager is doing, and therefore they can concentrate on the job that needs to be done. In order to get the best performance out of their team, a manager needs to be consistent in their actions. They need to be predictable. One of these ways is through trustworthiness. If a manager is predictable, if they are consistent in their actions, employees trust that manager. They're pretty sure the manager is going to do one thing a certain way. And they trust that manager. And therefore, the manager starts trusting their employees as well. So trustworthiness is a benefit of being consistent. Another area where a leader needs to be consistent is holding their employees accountable. They shouldn't allow some things to slide on one day and the next day hold people accountable, hold their feet to the fire. That sends the wrong message. And a leader needs to be consistent in holding their employees accountable day in and day out. A leader also needs to be consistent in, leading. Their communication skills need to be consistent. They don't need to be good one day and poor the next. They don't need to hold their employees accountable one day and not hold their employees accountable the next day. They don't need to come in with a positive mindset one day and a negative cloud over their head the next day. They need to be consistent. And the only way a leader is going to improve as a leader is if they are consistent in all their actions. And by being consistent in all their actions, again, the employees trust that leader, they can predict what's going on, and they can concentrate on work performance as opposed to trying to guess what the leader's up to. By being consistent, you get better team performance and you improve as a leader. So I hope this brief overview was beneficial to you. If you have a comment about this topic or any topic that you would like to see in the future, please put it below. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. Until next time, good luck with being consistent.